Okay. So let's return then to your statement. It's paragraph 12.
Captain Norkia on the 19th reported to me, sorry, just paragraph 11 if you don't mind.
Sure.
Commissioners. While I was off sick with COVID, Captain Norkia reported to me telephonically that on the 19th of July 2021, that forensics indicated that they were ready to receive on that day, and that he handed in the exhibits, him and Warrant Officer Morris handed in the exhibits on that day. And I asked him if everything was in order, and he indicated to me it's still in order, all is still there, all is still accounted for.
So, sorry, that was at this point in time, and thank you for going back to paragraph 11. At this point in time, this was where the drugs were now transported from the SAPS college to FSL.
From the safe premises to FSL, yes.
So just again on that timeline, the 9th was the drug bust.
Correct.
That was the day it was booked into the SAP 13.
On the 9th, correct?
On the 9th.
Correct, Commissioner.
Calls to you, multiple calls over the weekend. 12th, the Monday, it was then taken to the SAPS training college.
Correct, Commissioner.
And locked into a storeroom.
A safe storeroom, yes.
And just remind us then who had control over the exhibits at that point in time.
I would refer you back to paragraph 10, where the last paragraph under paragraph 10, we unloaded the exhibits into the strong room, locked the gate and the door, and I handed the keys to Captain Norkia with the instruction to see to it that the exhibits be moved to Forensic Science Laboratory as soon as they are ready to receive it. So it would have been Captain Norkia that was in total control of the exhibits henceforth.
So I understand the reason for moving it because of the concerns that were raised at Boyson's, and then, you know, this was the place that was identified as being very safe. But it is a breach of protocol, is it not, to take it to the college?
I would concede to that, yes. But,
and even if the motive is for the purpose of protecting...
I had to take a decision in an effort to try and mitigate further risks to the exhibits, and hence my decision to take that move out of protocols.
And I suppose for me the question is, it's so important, the protocols, right? Because when there's a breach, it sort of allows for problems to creep in.
Yes.
And it's not ideal that the drugs had to be moved out of an SAP 13 register. What is the solution to this?
Enhance the storage capability at forensics.
Is that forensics? Is that's really, because it has to go into an SAP 13 first.
Absolutely,
right?
Yes.
But the problem is that you don't want to keep it in SAP 13 longer than is absolutely necessary.
I think protocol allows us 7 days, and within the period of 7 days we need to move it to forensics from a SAP 13 attestation, yes.
Yeah. So if there had been space at the forensic lab, then it would have just gone from Boyson's on the Monday straight to the lab.
Absolutely, yes.
And there wouldn't have been this diversion.
Yes, Commissioners, it would have been like that.
Can I ask a question? Why can't you hand over the custody to FSL within 7 days and you let them decide where they store the drugs? Because then you would have complied with the protocol, and it's their responsibility to find storage capacity.
I totally get what you're saying, Commissioner. At the end of the day, one is to a large extent also in their hands. If they say, I cannot receive, I have to make alternative arrangements.
Can't you say you are obliged to receive? within 7 days, I must hand over these things to you. If you don't have storage capacity, speak to National Commissioner or whoever is responsible for these things to make an arrangement. But these things are now in your custody. They can't be in the custody of a police station or the Hawks or whoever the people are who initially discovered or are investigating the issue of the drug.
I was at that stage of the belief that I cannot tell them what to do, although they're also aware of the protocols, Commissioner. And I just, as I've indicated previously, I just had to make an arrangement for, in lack of a better explanation, for the better of the exhibits, for the safeguarding to the best of my ability for the exhibits, until such time that they were able to accept it, Commissioner.
Thank you. So the drugs then are transported from the training college to, so there's a 9th, the 12th it goes into the storeroom at SAP College, and then on the 19th it's taken to the forensic service lab. Is that correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
Okay. And then at that point, when it's logged in with the forensic service lab, is there a clerk who then receives it, and so there's a counter signature for everything that's received? Is that right?
That is indeed correct, Commissioners.
And as I understand it, at that point in time when the exhibits are now being handed over at FSL, it was discovered that there were some bags with small tears in them. Do you want to just explain that? When
Captain Norkia phoned me on the 19th to indicate to me that the bags were handed in, and I questioned him on the status of the exhibits. Like I said, he indicated to me that it was still in the brick form, it was still in the same evidence bags, but probably because it was moved a number of times from the crime scene to Boysens, from Boysens to the safe storage in the college, from the college then to forensics. Because these evidence bags, although it's quite thick plastic, I think because of the transportation and the movement of these bags, there was small tears in the exhibit bags. But according to Captain Norkia, the tears was so small that the bricks would not fit through a tear like that. But what happens at forensics when you get there and there's the evidence or the exhibits bags are compromised even in the smallest way or fashion, not properly sealed because it's got a self-sealing, you remove a strip and then it's self-sealing. Even if there's a small little problem with that, they refuse to accept it. So Captain Norkia explained to me that they, at reception in forensics, they actually resealed these into other bags that didn't have any damage to them. And it was then accepted as such at forensics.
So they would be resealed into new bags with new exhibit numbers, new sealed numbers on the bags. Yeah. And I think there were about 8 such bags.
I'm not sure of the count. I cannot recall that he gave me a specific count. He just said there were some of the bags. I asked him, did you get it sorted? He said, yes, we resealed it and we handed it in. They accepted it as such.
Okay, maybe just for the sake of completeness, I'll just, if you look at Officer Morris's statement, again, CJC 206, starts at page 16. But if you look at page 19, at paragraph 13, he says they transported, him and Captain Norkia transported the bags on the 19th of July to the FSL. And then he says that they were damaged from the handling of the
Yes.
drug exhibits. And then in paragraph 14, he lists the bags that were affected,
Yes, Commissioners.
and they were placed into new bags.
Yes, Commissioners.
And there are 8 bags that are listed. Okay, that's just to close that off.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right. And then I think we're then at paragraph 12.
Would you like me to read it in?
Yes, please.
On my return from isolation, I further assisted Captain Sebola by inspecting the docket in terms of the investigation done and issued written instructions on the outstanding investigations. I also assisted with obtaining some of the outstanding statements.
Okay. So you continued to assist even after this would now be with the investigation into the source of the drugs and potential destination of the drugs. That's what.
Correct, Commissioners.
Right. Please, can you read the first paragraph of paragraph 13?
During the course of 2024, after an IPAD investigation into the matter, I was informed that the IPAD case was dismissed by the DPP in terms of charges against members, including myself. But the IPAD requested a departmental investigation to be conducted against DPCI members who were involved in the Boysens case. Major General Gerber was appointed as the investigating officer into the departmental investigation. After his investigations, the national head of the DPCI also decided that the members acted correctly and that no departmental steps will be taken. During this investigation, I was instructed to confirm the status of the exhibits of this case.
Pause there. Let's just, before we move on, just on the investigation. So this investigation by Major General Gerber into the members of the Hawks was really followed from the IPAD investigation and the IPAD recommendation.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Can we just look at the IPAD report? You'll see that at CJC 215. And it starts at page 76. This is the report that made the recommendations, right?
I think so, yes.
You'll see at paragraph 2.1 of that report, the IPAD says the recommendation is to initiate disciplinary proceedings as the SAPS members involved are, and then it lists 5 members of the SAPS and Hawks.
Yes, Commissioner.
And those are Major General Khan, Major General Kadwa, Brigadier Sekobela, Colonel Stein, that's you, and Lieutenant Colonel Sebola.
Correct, Commissioner.
And this was based on an investigation at 2.3. The IPAD investigator lists all of the statements and evidence relied on. You see that?
I see that, Commissioner.
So there's a list of about 42 statements, including some warning statements, and then other evidence, a radio control transcript that we were looking at, the SAP-13, forensic report, etc. So based on all of these interviews with these people, what the IPAD report investigator determines is, if you look at page 79, the first paragraph. It says, evidence in our disposal revealed that indeed the complainant and 3 others were arrested on 9 July 2021 and were charged with dealing in drugs. As per the Boyson's case, that's the Ayrton case number. The police arrested their colleagues who made a huge drug bust. 2 generals, namely Major General Khan and Kadwa, attended the crime scene. However, they are unable to explain as to their role at the crime scene. General Kadwa indicated that he did not do anything at the crime scene, as he alleged that he remained in his car, and later he got a report that officers were arrested. And then it goes on and says, you know, the drugs were taken to the lab, the canine unit issue, and then the recommendations. This then is what led to Major Gerbers doing his investigation, right?
Correct, Commissioner.
Now, I accept that you can't really comment on the IPID investigation itself.
No, I can't, Commissioner.
But can you tell me whether General Kadwa did exercise any control over the scene when he was there, or whether he did just remain in his car? Is that a correct statement?
What I personally saw, that would be not in his car, he was standing next to his car when I arrived there.
And he, while the entire time that you were present, he didn't issue any instructions or exercise any oversight? The
only thing he asked me is, I must just remember to tender the initial report to him, the preliminary report to him as soon as possible. That's the only thing he told me to do while I was on the scene.
And okay. Then what happens is that the recommendation is made, and who is Major General Gerber then, who is tasked with?
Major General Gerber, I'm not sure where he is currently, but at that stage he was or still is the provincial head of the DPCI in Mpumalanga.
Okay, and did he interview you for the purposes of the investigation?
He did telephonically, and I attended the statement.
Okay. I'm going to return to his conclusions. I mean, as we know, ultimately he exonerated the 4 that he investigated, right? The 4 Hawks members.
Yes,
all right. I'll return to that because...
You say the 4?
Yes.
I think there was 5. No?
No, General Khan doesn't fall under the Hawks.
Okay, thank you. And who was the complainant in this IPID investigation?
I am not sure, Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you.
Does it not say Mr. Mashaba in 75? Sorry, my mic was off. It says the complainant in brackets, Mr. Mashaba. Paragraph 3 on page 75. 79.
Yeah, that is indeed correct. Commissioner, I haven't seen this report before until the bundle was given to me over the weekend.
It seems to me that the complainants are the 3 police officers who were arrested.
Yes, the traffic officer, the 2 police officers, and then the private individual. I think you're 100% correct, Commissioner.
To your knowledge, you say, it says, I think you say in a statement that the DPP dismissed the case that was supposed to be put against you. Do you know what was the charge against you in particular that the DPP...
If my memory serves me well, it was corruption and defeating the ends of justice. If my memory serves me well, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. As I said, I might return to the Gerber report just for some of his conclusions, particularly about concerns that he did have, despite the fact that he didn't think that there was sufficient basis to pursue any disciplinary charges against any of those, any of the four of you. He did raise some concerns about the investigation, some of which we've covered a bit today.
Yes.
I would like to return to that, but before we get there, you were at paragraph 13, and you had read the first paragraph of your paragraph 13, and you said that at the time of the investigation you were asked to confirm the status of the exhibits.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Can you take it from there, please?
If one looks at my additional statement, the first meeting we had with the people at Forensics in an effort to try and address this tasking that I received, myself, Lieutenant Colonel Jacobs, Captain Norkia and Warrant Officer Morris went to Forensics on the 3rd of December. When we requested to, I explained to them the reason for our visit, and we requested them to physically see these exhibits. They went and looked for it, but they couldn't find the whole consignment. And they returned to us and they said to us, well, there's no problem. They couldn't. I said to them, that's not acceptable. And I then phoned, as I indicated in my original statement, I then contacted Brigadier Allen, who is their commanding officer. And I requested her to assist with this tasking and to actually intervene because I didn't get joy from her personnel.
And when did you contact her? You say it in the statement, if you can just say it for the record.
I contacted her, I cannot recall exactly when it was just after our meeting, our original meeting in December.
So in paragraph 13 in your main statement, your original statement, you say in the beginning of February 2025.
Brigadier Allen contacted me.
Oh, I see. So let's just step back. So it was December when you first made the request.
Yes.
They indicated there's a problem.
Yes.
But they couldn't answer your questions to your satisfaction.
So we literally called it a day and we left. So I phoned her and I asked her to intervene and assist us so that I can adhere to this tasking that I received.
Okay. And then if you could continue from there. So she then contacts you in the beginning of February.
In the beginning of February, she contacted me and informed me that they found the exhibits in their storeroom, but that the exhibits were no longer in the brick form, but in forensic plastic transparent bags with no markings on it, but the bags had tags on them descripting the lab number as well as the case number. She further indicated that the consignment now only weighed 479.4 kilograms. And that
579.
579.40 kilograms, and hence that 136.46 kilograms was unaccounted for. On Wednesday, the 22nd of February of 2025, I attended a meeting with General Kadwa, Lieutenant Colonel Jacobs, and I think that Norkia and Morris was there, I'm not sure, with Brigadier Allen and some of her personnel. They could still not explain the 136.46 kilograms that was unaccounted for, and it was then that General Kadwa decided to phone the DPCI national head of anti-corruption, of the anti-corruption section, and requested an investigation into the matter. I'm not aware of the current status of this investigation.
Okay, let's just unpack that a little bit. So 136.4 kgs went missing.
Based on the original weight of 715.86 kilograms, it only weighed in now at 579.4 kilograms, so 136.46 kilograms was missing.
And she said they were no longer in brick form.
We actually viewed it. It was now just a powder in large see-through bags with tags on them.
Again, when it's sealed in the evidence bags, it's got that shrink wrapped, it's tightly wrapped with the plastic.
Correct.
Now that had been, so is the evidence of Brigadier Allen that it was now, that had been removed?
She informed us, if my memory serves me well, that wrapping, are we talking about the wrapping with the markings
logos
on it,
yes.
logos on it? She indicated that started to deteriorate. And obviously, because of the fact that they had to remove some of this powder to actually analyze it, that wrapping then deteriorated further because they literally, if I understand it correctly, they tested every brick. So because they opened those bricks, it started to deteriorate, and they decided to remove the wrappings and just put it in other bags that they used then to put the evidence in after they've analyzed it.
Do they test all of it? Do they test the 715 kgs or just a sample of it?
Commissioner, they cannot test, if they test all 700 of it, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
So it would be small samples out of each brick, in my understanding that they do test, Commissioner.
And here's my follow-up question. Is it not possible then that it is the sample that was used for testing that is missing?
Not 136 kilograms, Commissioner. That's not possible, sir.
So they cannot use 130 kilograms for testing?
No, Commissioner, definitely not. So it's literally grams or milligrams that they use to test, Commissioner.
So it's now in powder form, and 136 kgs are not accounted for. That's quite a lot to carry out of the storage room.
Indeed. It was quite upsetting to us at the time, yeah.
So you say that you attended the meeting. They couldn't explain anything further, right? But was this meeting at the FSL?
Correct, Commissioner.
And then did you go to inspect the exhibits and the storage space?
We indeed were allowed to accompany them, and they showed us the storage facility where the exhibits were kept in.
And what did you see there?
Lack of a better explanation, chaos. But I don't think in my humble opinion, like the lawyers say in court, my humble opinion is that at the end of the day, one should go and look for yourselves. My explanation of that or photographs of that will not suffice to explain what's going on in those storerooms. It was kilograms and kilograms of exhibits lying on top of one another and roof height.
So how would they be sorted? I mean, so it's all in one room, first of all?
All in one room. Different bags with the tags on them, as I can explain. I don't know how they would know to go to the back of this facility to retrieve certain items. It's like a puzzle. I don't know how they do it.
So you would walk in, and is it on shelves, or is it?
Shelves are fully packed. It's now laying on the ground, and they literally walking on top of the bags to get to the bags at the backside of this facility.
And is it a secure room?
Yeah. There's serious strong room doors in front, and you have to sign as soon as you step if you put your foot into that place, you sign a register to say that you were in there.
Are there cameras outside the door?
I saw cameras. If they're working, I cannot answer.
So that would have presumably been part of the investigation by the anti-corruption section head?
I think so, yes. Or ought to be.
And have you been able to do any follow-up on that investigation by the Anti-Corruption Office? So is this an office within DPCI, by the way, the Anti-Corruption Office?
That is correct. Anti-corruption, serious anti-corruption is one of the legs, if I can explain it like that the DPCI is built on.
The call that was made, you say, to the DPCI head office of anti-corruption, was that made in February 2025?
That's correct,
to investigate?
Yes. I actually overheard, in the meeting we had at Forensics, I overheard the call that General Kadwa made to, I understand he's no longer in the police, it was General John Matroos, who was heading up that section within the DPCI, and I know that the call was made to General John Matroos.
So it's now well over a year later. What update have you had on that investigation and the status of the investigation?
I do not have the full status of the investigation, but I'm aware that in last week they took a statement from Warrant Officer Morris, excuse me, and I was approached on Friday, past Friday, to tender a statement from my side on actually one of the questions that they ask is why was the recount done from our side, but it's explained in my statement. So I said to them that I will deal with it in this week only after I've been, after I finalize my testimony at this commission.
Advocate Hassim, did we establish what the street value of the 136 kg missing is? I can't remember if we did.
It would
Times 400,000.
Times?
I don't want to take out my phone, Commissioner, and my mathematical skills are good, but not that good.
55 million.
Around 55 million.
Yeah, around there, Commissioner.
Okay. Advocate, Commissioner Baloyi laughed at us last week because we got our maths wrong. So we don't want to attempt that again.
And if this had now entered, if this now had entered the market, if it was now on the streets, these drugs, would you have been able to pick it up in any way?
I don't think so. Reason being, I do not know if it was removed in those blocks where we found it in, because that would be the only way to identify it. But I believe that after the analysis, it was no longer in that block form that we seized it in. So it is, cocaine is a white powder. The end product is a white powder. So it will be very difficult to identify that on the street per se, Commissioners.
So there's another incident that happens in February 2025 at around this time that these drugs go missing. There's a media publication, and if I could just ask you to have a look at that in the exhibit bundle. It's at CJC 217. Page 109 of the bundle. And it's dated 22 February 2025. And the title of this media report is Crime Intelligence Battle, Key Witnesses in Feroz Khan Disciplinary to Face Drug Charges. Right? The report discusses what happened at the Eriton scene and the 4 suspects that were arrested. And it, in quite a lot of detail, including photographs from the scene, including the similar photographs to the ones you've showed to the Commission. But it says more. And if you look at page 115 of that report, okay, now if you look at, for example, from the second paragraph of that report, of this media article.
Yeah.
It says the report reveals Nku and Mashaba were in direct communication with an East Rand businessman who appears to have been the middleman between a drug operation in Brazil and local operations. It then goes on to talk about chats from encrypted messaging services that revealed that Nku was talking about certain employees at the Durban port that were, in inverted commas, our guys. It refers to the businessmen who went by a particular alias. And you'll see also, as you scroll down, that this media article has the actual messages that were shared, that were obtained by internal Hawks investigators. It has evidence from the cell phone analyst, and it concludes, it opines that the emergence of this evidence is likely to prove crucial to Khan's survival in the disciplinary round. And then it continues to talk about Khan's troubles. And it's actually a very pro-Khan article. It's a very favorable article. And all of this evidence that it leaks, essentially, comes from an internal report that I think you're familiar with. Can you confirm whether you know about these WhatsApp messages and the evidence regarding Nku and the Durban businessman?
Not this specific, I cannot recall the specific WhatsApp messages that's published here. And I do not know where would they have gotten this. I know there was analysis done by our PCMC, the Provincial Crime Management Center, which also forms part of the DPCI. But to where this comes from, and I haven't seen this prior to today.
Have you not seen a presentation that provides an analysis of the evidence
Not of this specific, but I've seen part of a presentation by the PCMC, yes.
Is it similar
Yes.
evidence to what is
Yes,
in the
similar, yes.
So how would information, I mean, I would think that that's quite sensitive, confidential information.
Absolutely.
How would that be leaked to the media?
I do not have an answer, Commissioners. I would not know. It's actually sad to see something like this.
What is the risk of it, this kind of leak to an investigation?
The risk of it is plain and simple to the fact that at the end of the day, if these type of things are published, it makes it easier for the criminals to see what we're looking at and how we do our investigations. And that would hamper further and future investigations into this type of syndicates.
Thank you, Colonel. And then I said I would come back to the Gerber report.
Sorry,
you were going to continue. Please go ahead.
Sorry, if you would allow me just to take you to page 109 of that same, the first page of that article. You will see that photograph of the black bakkie with the black bags on top of it. Also in front of it, that is not captured in Warrant Officer Wood's sketch of the scene, you would see a marked police vehicle parked right in front of it. To the left of the police vehicle is that red Kia that is in her statement, in her drawing. But the police vehicle by then has been removed. So I just wanted to highlight that I just saw now.
Yes, thank you for bringing this to our attention, because Wood's sketch was only done at a particular point in the day, and was much later in the day.
Yeah, here the sun is still shining.
Here the sun is still shining, exactly.
Indeed, correct, Commissioners.
Colonel, this open back bakkie, is this the black bakkie that is referred to?
That would be correct, Commissioner.
So Mashaba and them would have transported the drugs open in this way, if they had had their way?
That looks like that, Commissioner. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And without protection?
I cannot answer to that, ma'am.
Yes.
I do not know what their plans were at that stage.
Thank you.
And just remind us, the police van is the one that prevented the black Nissan bakkie from leaving the warehouse.
This is what I found when I came on the scene and I asked what's going on here, and it was explained to me that that black bakkie apparently wanted to leave, so it was blocked in by a Boyson's police van.
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner.
Going back to the FSL, the drugs that are now, that cannot be accounted for, the one, I think it's 136 kilograms that cannot be accounted for. Do you know if FSL has conducted its own investigation of what happened, because this was in their custody?
I'm not sure. I think Brigadier Allen can attest to that, Commissioner. I will not be able to comment on that.
And you haven't seen any FSL records that account for who handled these drugs at different stages until the amount of 751 has reduced to the 579? You haven't seen any records of that?
The only records I could see was the 212 statements by the analyst of people handling the drugs, Commissioner. Apart from the 212 statements where the people's names appear that did the analysis, I'm not able to give any other names.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Colonel, Major General Gerber's report, right towards the end of the report, where he makes some findings. If we can just turn to page 106.
CJ?
Gerber, CJC 216. CJC 216, and specifically page 106.
I'm there, Commissioners.
Thank you. So, he says he doesn't find evidence against the four. But then he says the following. He says, and it's sort of like the second paragraph just before the bullet points. There were fundamental administrative errors made by the investigators assigned to the team, and I highlight these, although they have no bearing on the IPID recommendations. And then he lists them. And he lists them as follows: errors in relation to serial numbers on the evidence bag, statement of Captain Norkia and Warrant Officer Morris, who performed the seizure together, differs, but was rectified and found to be an administrative error. The number of evidence collected, statements indicate 700, whereas FSL received 715. Several witness statements also confirm 715. The 1 brick of cocaine recovered by LCRC and handed over to DPCI, indicating members did not fully explore and receive all exhibits, a human error given the circumstances. Next, premature arrest of police officials, albeit justified based on circumstances at the crime scene. If allowed time to investigate, a different outcome may have been achieved. Lack of follow-up on alibis, thus allowing the defense to obtain statements and providing such in their representations to DPP. Statements from commanders, but initially indicated telephonically they were not aware of what their members were doing, but later changed their version, should have been obtained immediately. And this is, at least for me, the most important thing about all of that, is the next sentence. He says, the above will have serious implications on any future representations made by the DPCI to have the Boyson's case placed back on the roll. So the effect of it is no successful prosecution will come from this.
Yes,
Can you comment on that and the shortcomings that Major General Gerber identified?
I'm not sure when he refers to errors relating to serial numbers on evidence bags. I'm not sure what he actually means by that. Statement from Norkia and Morris, that error or the differences between their statements must have been rectified in my time of absence. The 700 and the difference between the 700 and 715, if you have a look at my original statement, my handwritten statement, I did not mention any specific count of the blocks there. I only mentioned it in later statements. And I might have based my statement on the 212 statement from FSL. But as I said on the outset, my statement is to the best of my recollection. The one brick that was discovered, like I said, must have been the lighting, and it was human error. We're dealing with humans, although we expected to not make this type of mistake. We're dealing with human beings. In terms of the premature arrests, that is a 50-50 issue in my opinion. In hindsight, I would agree with him that we should have just continued with the investigation and then indeed there might have been a different outcome. But that is in hindsight. You know, sometimes we need to make decisions on a crime scene within minutes or in a very short space of time. And then fortunately or unfortunately, we then have to live with our decisions that we had to make in a very short space of time. The lack of follow-ups on the alibis, I think for the most part, the investigation team did what they could in terms of following up on the alibis. The statement from the commanders, I was aware of a situation where certain of the commanders of the members that were arrested. I'm aware of the fact that those initial indications telephonically that they were not aware of their members on the scene, and later they said, no, we were aware of the members on the scene in statement form. That is worrisome, definitely worrisome as well. So that's basically my comments on these points. But yeah, if, you know, unfortunately we don't always have a do-over in life, but I would do certain things differently. For example, the investigation before the arrest. But yeah.
Unless there are any questions from the commissioners, that's it from me.
Can I just, the supplementary statement, should we amend that reference to 134? It would clearly be incorrect because I think it's on page 12. No, sorry. Yeah, page 12, paragraph 51. The supplementary. It should be 136.46.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think that was just a typo.
Yes.
I think it's in paragraph 51, it's the same thing.
Yes. Yeah, that's where I was.
51 and 52.
Yes.
Both
51 and
references.
52.
Yes. Colonel, when you started very early on, in the day, you mentioned, and I think this was in the general discussion before you got into the statement, that to date no arrests have been made. Was it in relation to the drugs themselves, the seized drugs, or members of the SAPS?
Commissioner, on the scene, as indicated, there were 4 people arrested. In the interim, that case has been removed from the roll after representations. And after that, I'm not aware of anyone else that was arrested on this case relating to the exhibits, relating to their conduct and the like.
Okay. And disciplinary action against Mr. Mashaba and the other 2 members?
I'm aware that there was disciplinary actions. I cannot recall which one. The one was one of the officers. I think it was the officer from, not the national one. If the advocate can just maybe assist me. Was the guy driving the black bakkie? That was...
Makhane.
Yeah, I think he was suspended. But I'm just talking of things that I heard, Commissioner. I cannot testify to that fact as a fact.
And do you know whether any of them or all of them are still in the employ of the state? The traffic chief and the other
I think
members?
the chief is.
Okay.
And I know at least one of the SABC members are still also employed. I'm not sure about the third SABC member, the second SABC member, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Sim.
Can I take you back to page 109 of the exhibits bundle? CJC 217.
I'm there, Commissioner.
Yes. Colonel, just looking at that photo, I mean, surely that is wrong, that you can load these bags in the back of an unmarked van, which is black in color, before the exhibits are secured and properly sealed and properly numbered and properly counted, just on its face.
And photographed. It was not photographed before this.
They haven't even been counted or put in seal bags or anything like that. Somebody has loaded them in what is clearly a private vehicle, and they are removing them from a from a crime scene.
We established that this is, my humblest apologies, Commissioner.
Where you find drugs, I mean, it's a crime scene.
Absolutely.
And that scene must be secured.
Absolutely.
But here they are already being removed and somebody's taking them somewhere.
Yeah. You will also see that this is before we came to the crime scene. Look at the people standing around. The gentleman there with the red shirt, no, is definitely not a police officer. So this was before we arrived there. So it's not even cordoned off. Like one of the first things that the advocate highlighted was that it should be there should be at least an inner perimeter, which wasn't done if one has a look at the photograph. So when you say that that's improper and incorrect, I have to totally 100% agree with you, Commissioner.
Even assuming the arrest was premature and improper, just looking at what they have done in that photo,
Yes,
that is contrary to all the prescripts.
100%, Commissioner. I agree with you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Not that it makes any difference at all to how this was handled and how improper it is. I think you wanted to make a correction, and I think it's something that I picked up from the statements, that van turned out to be a police van.
That's correct. It was a police van, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Or not a police van, but a police vehicle.
A police vehicle.
Yes, Commissioner. The black vehicle, yeah.
What does that mean? Do you mean it is being driven by a policeman or it is registered as a SABC vehicle?
It is registered as a SABC vehicle.
But as you know, even vehicles registered as SABC vehicles can be used to commit offenses.
Absolutely,
So
Commissioner.
it
No.
doesn't follow that just because it is registered as a police vehicle, it was conducting proper police business.
Your comments 100% correct.
But then
Commissioner.
again, on the flip side, you can't assume without more that they were committing a crime.
100% correct.
So you must investigate all these things.
Indeed, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chair. your commissioners have caused me to have a follow-up. Because the issue of premature arrests and all of that is quite important here. There were several people who arrived at the scene, the first responders I was referring to earlier, and along the way, and that's, I think, where Warrant Officer Pakula comes in at a certain point, because he only arrives, when we were looking at the timeline, he only arrives at the Eriton. He doesn't follow the truck with the others, right? He arrives in Eriton. And one of the findings by Major General Gerber was that he thought that Warrant Officer Pakula was genuinely trying to investigate the scene, but then was subjected to the arrest and all of that. And perhaps that was the comment about the premature arrest, because if he wasn't complicit with the others and the black bucky and the removal of the drugs, he may have been able to do more to do some processing of the crime scene. Can I get your comment on that?
I cannot really comment on Pakula's role there, but I don't know. He was, who asked him to come to the scene, and why? If he's at a national investigation entity, why didn't he contact the correct people? He contacted Sipungu, Colonel Sipungu, who is his commander, who was on leave. And if you again have a look at that photograph on 109, that red Kia there at the back would be the vehicle he came in.
The red vehicle?
The red Kia vehicle that you can only see the nose of in that picture. So at the end of the day, if he would have done something, the first thing, why didn't he secure the drugs and at least have an inner perimeter? That's just a question I would ask. But I cannot comment on exactly what he did at the crime scene, commissioners.
No, that's fine. I think that it's based on Major General Gerber's interview and then the statements he took from Officer Pakula, who explains what he did and calling the jock and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to clarify maybe what he understood as being premature arrest.
Thank you.
That's all from me. Thank you, Commissioners.